if you're looking for a quick fix, that's not the way to go. The quick fix is to have a sale, a big sale,
Yeah.
put paint over the windows and flyers and balloons and all that kind of stuff and get a big bunny on top of your building.
Do you feel the pressure to grow your business, but doing so feels a bit like drowning? Welcome to Slow Growth Business, the show for business owners and leaders to quiet the noise and lead your business to success, one day at a time, slow and steady. If you feel your business is running you and you're ready to run it, you've come to the right place. Now, here are your hosts, business coaches Jimmy DeGroot and me, Kyle Bullock.
Welcome to the podcast, everybody. We are finishing up our series on inflation. We like to be responsive. So if you have any questions at all, or you want us to go into anything a little bit further, hey, send us an email. We're wide open. We're here for you guys. So hope to kind of round this up a little bit today, and then we're going to move on to some other exciting topics.
Yeah, man. Here's a funny thing about inflation. I think we talked about this in a previous podcast.
Wait, there's something funny about it?
Yeah, it's hilarious. We talked about it in a previous podcast, I think, or one of the trainings that, inflation, it's this big, nasty monster that everyone's talking about being so bad for their business. The inflation rate in 2024, as we look at it now, was maybe 3%. And that's normal. It's normal.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is, we've done an inflation series. People have been concerned about inflation when inflation is normal. And so what gives? Why doesn't it feel normal? Well, to give everyone a bit of context, a few years ago, before 2024, it wasn't normal. It was like 10%, right?
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah, right.
All that.
Right.
The problem was that prices went up and then they just stayed there. They didn't come down. That's how inflation works. So it stayed there. And wages didn't inflate as much as the cost of the things that we buy. Our buying power hasn't gone as far. And now we're feeling it years later, where we're kind of catching up to the problem. And we're like, wait a second, eggs are still expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
What gives, man?
Yeah.
So really what we're dealing with, we're dealing with the perception of inflation, not actual immediate inflationary needs going on right now.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean it's not real. It's not legitimate. And so anyway, I find that interesting. It's been a hot button topic. It's something that we've been confronting, something that's been going on in the zeitgeist of business in America.
Yeah.
But the reality is it's currently not bad. It's that we're just trying to react with what happened years ago. Isn't that funny? I told you it was funny.
I'm just, yeah.
Data.
LOL. Hey, question for you. Do you think inflation is a lot more perceptible to things that we buy on a regular basis, such as groceries and gasoline and things like that, as opposed to things that have a lot longer buying cycle, like furniture and would that be a natural thought?
Yeah. Like if I'm shooting from the hip on that, I would say yes. I think that we perceive inflation maybe differently in both of those situations.
Right.
Right. I buy eggs every week, and last year it was like $5. And now I'm spending $6 or $7, and I'm grouchy because it's so expensive. But then again, like I bought a diamond ring for my wife when we got married for an engagement, and I paid $2,000, and then I go back in the jewelry store for my 10th anniversary. Or my 15th anniversary, and now it's $4,000. And I'm like, what on earth? The price of diamonds.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's just, I think it's a perception of like time and distance. And
sure.
I think we said this in a previous podcast. It comes down to perceived value. Like, do we perceive the value of the thing that we're buying to be greater than what we're buying it for, or less than what we're buying it for?
I'm old enough to know. Well, I used to have a rule in my life that I was going to spend 10 grand on a car. Now, back in 1989, when I bought my first car or whatever, that was a nice car. 10 grand. It was a Honda Accord. Are you kidding me? It was beautiful. EX. And now at 10 grand, you're at 200,000 miles and a little bit of rust and no guarantees.
Lots of character in that car.
So what's your question today? You've always got this great question. for us. So let's tackle it. What is it?
Well, we're going to make this the end of the inflation series because I thought it really capstone what we've been talking about for a while, because it's a real world problem that was posed to us as we looked at retail clients for December of 2024. And here is how they realized the perceived problem of inflation. All right. So I'm going to pose to you the question. It all comes down to the number of customers that are walking through our door, and perhaps that we're losing customers, or we're not seeing as many people buying. People's money isn't going as far as it used to, right?
Right.
Here's how it realized in December. Okay. We saw our clients in December, they had strong average retail sales. So their average retail was at or above what it was in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And they had good profit margins. So especially luxury clients are experiencing good profit margins on the things that they're selling. But they saw fewer customers, fewer bodies and transactions overall. Okay.
Right.
5%, 10% fewer people. This seems to be pretty normal, that people's buying power isn't as strong as it used to be. So maybe they're not coming into the business to buy and they're looking for bargains elsewhere, or just not buying at all. The questions posed to us today is, when should we be worried about losing customers? And how do we get some of them to come back? Especially knowing that their buying power may not be as strong as it used to be.
I always have to go first.
You do. Because I ask the questions around here.
I love it. All right. So I like to think of everything as a story. And I'm going to tell you a quick story about us at the jewelry store in central Wisconsin. We were a fine jewelry store selling fine jewelry to fine people. That's exactly how we described it, right? Consider it wasn't premium like top of the line brands, but it was pretty close to that. There was some really nice stuff in our store. And what we found out is that there were a lot of our customers, our good paying customers, were going to the chain stores. They were going to the department store. They were going even to, dare I say it, Walmart, to buy things that were not premium brands, okay? But they were that $40 thing or that $30 thing that they wanted to get for their daughter or their niece, etc. And what we did is we ended up going to the jewelry show at the time, and we got into what's known as a flyer. So we bought flyer merchandise, and this was a company that provided those flyers you get in the mail, right? But we wanted to make sure it was a little better than kind of the low grade stuff that's in a lot of these flyers that has really low price points. Anyway, so we ended up getting a flyer that year. We sent it to everybody in town, or everybody that subscribed to the newspaper. And what we found was that customers walked through our door and they were so happy to be able to buy that thing that they wanted from us, their trusted longtime jeweler forever. That was a really neat feeling for us. And then what we always had to do is we had to make sure that the quality was good enough to be, represented in our store, and for them to proudly say, we bought this at the store Jimmy worked at. So why do I tell you that story? The story was to say that we became more relevant to our customers that loved us, and they thanked us for being able to buy those pieces that they kind of felt a little guilty about going to other stores. We became more relevant to them. And from a very, high perspective here, I'm saying, how relevant are you to your customers when it comes to the purchase of whatever you're selling? If I'm selling a musical piece of equipment, are you relevant enough for them to come and visit you, or are they going to go online and shop at the many places that they can buy that particular model online? How relevant are you? Do you have what they want, or do you just carry exclusive items? That's the long and short of my story, but that's one of the thoughts that I have is we need to remain relevant to our customers for them to think of us next time they're in that buying cycle of whatever we sell.
And relevant, it makes me think of we're selling solutions to problems. Yeah. That's what makes you relevant, is you're solving a problem for somebody. And in this case, you're solving the problem of, we wish we could shop with you, but we just don't see that you have what we need or what we can afford. And then you can solve that problem.
Yeah, I mean, let's take Ashley Furniture, for example. We know Ashley has a price point. They have a customer, and it tends to be probably an entry-level customer or somebody that's looking for a certain price, not to exceed. It's not the fine furniture that you get from, the Amish country, etc. Maybe if you're an exclusive fine furniture store, maybe you have a line that meets more of that price point, but still has the quality. You want to be able to offer that and give them no excuse to go anywhere else. This is going to keep customers walking through your door.
Yeah.
So what's your thought?
It's interesting. My response to losing customers is that's okay. It's actually okay
Okay.
to
Sure.
lose. Caveat, little asterisk there. Like, it's okay to lose it to a point.
Some you want to lose.
Yeah. Honestly.
It's real. It's
So,
real. Yeah.
do you really want as many customers as possible? That's the Costco model. That's the Amazon model.
Right. Right.
And at the end of the day, the way that you ultimately win as many customers as you possibly can is to make your products as inexpensive and affordable as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And you will always, always lose that game if you're an independent because you do not have the scale and the buying power that publicly traded corporate companies like Costco, like Walmart, like Sam's Club, etc., can do.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I don't mind losing a certain segment of customers that are only in it for the value. What you said about your flyer, there was a point that I'd come back to that I think was what made it really successful for your company. You could have gone out and gotten a flyer of cheap jewelry to sell. But what you said was you went out, you got a flyer of things that you were proud to sell. They had to be quality, but they also were what we call value priced items. Mm-hmm. So did it appeal to everybody who went to Costco to buy their jewelry? No.
Right.
And you weren't really interested in that either. It just appealed to the people who wanted quality stuff and they wanted it from a local guy. They just didn't know that you carried it because maybe you didn't.
Yeah. And
that's the challenge. To me, it's winning your customers and gaining a customer base. It's a bit of a balance. If I'm just trying to get,
you call it the race to the bottom.
Exactly.
I'm not interested in that race.
Exactly. Let me give you an example. To me, it's balancing the scales here. Okay. Because if the more customers that I get, the cheaper I have to sell my products, and the more valuable my products become, the fewer customers I have. That's just supply and demand right there.
Right. Right.
In my hometown here, a new coffee shop just opened up. And it was just like the place to be. It's a little drive-through place. It's right in front of our gym. And when they first opened up, people were so enamored last week with this opening that there were cars wrapped around this huge parking lot out into the street. And they were giving away free coffee because it was a soft opening. They wanted people to experience it, so that was their promotion. They're giving away all this free coffee. And so people were just buying it in droves. Their goal was to get as many customers as they possibly could because they're new and they want to capture the market. So free is the price today, and we have an enormous amount of customers. Do they really want all those customers that they got for the free? No, because eventually they got to sell that coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
So the grand opening comes, it passes, and you know what? Now it will look like a normal line at a coffee shop.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
They're selling a premium beverage, and here's your $5 coffee. We're only interested in the people who want to spend $5 on a frou-frou cup of coffee, right? Mm-hmm. So for our independent retailers listening to this, or independent businesses listening to this, there's your lesson. You can race to the bottom and make things as cheap as possible and react to inflation by saying, I got to go out and get cheaper products. And you will sacrifice your average retail. It will go down. And you'll probably sacrifice your gross profit dollars. That will go down. Mm-hmm. If your overall profitability goes down in the effort to get more customers, is it really worth it? The way that you balance this scale. So if you're wondering, okay, I'm losing customers, or it doesn't seem as busy as it normally is these days, before you react to trying to just get more customers through the door, look at your gross profit dollars. Has your gross profit dollars, the money that goes in the bank, is it going up, or is it the same, or is it going down as opposed to the previous year? If it's going up, then great. Don't worry about it. You're being more efficient. That's fine. If it's the same, okay, maybe we want to do something different. Maybe we don't. let's keep an eye on that. If your profit dollars are going down, okay, we probably need to get a marketing effort going, get some bodies to the door.
Yeah.
That's your litmus test. It's always about the profit dollars in independent retail.
Yeah.
And I don't worry about traffic count until we see it going down.
Right. We talked about looking at our ROI on everything. And this is one of those areas where I got real finicky about my marketing in terms of keeping the pipeline of customers, whether it's new or existing customers, keeping those people coming and flowing through the store. And it's all about being relevant to them, of course. So you need to have a fantastic outreach program, meaning what are your salespeople doing when they're not selling? What are they, how are they reaching out to customers, staying relevant to them, creating new conversations, wishing them happy birthday, whatever, just staying relevant to them in their radar. So that's absolutely huge. And in today's society, we need to really be thinking about that because we're not Amazon and we're not huge online sellers. We're people with personalities and the kind of people that can go to funerals and our customers' weddings and get to know and be friends with our customers. So we need to continue to stay relevant with them. But the other thing is, and I'm a big proponent of this, we need to be looking at traditional forms of marketing in terms of keeping the pipeline full of new customers. And you know me, Kyle, I'm a big fan of radio. People are still listening to the radio. And if you're wondering why people are, or if they are, look at McDonald's, look at any of the big car manufacturers. They're on radio, they're on television, they're on these traditional forms of advertising. Why? Because it still works.
And to your point, Jimmy, from earlier, if you think Jimmy's saying, go out and take out a TV ad and a radio ad, and then bodies will walk through your door. I know that's not what Jimmy's saying. That's not what you're saying.
There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah. And it goes back to your first point. If you're reacting to customers not coming in December because it's lighter traffic, okay, let me advertise. Well, before you do, your flyer example taught us, let's have a reason to talk to people. Right. Your reason to talk to them was, let's offer them something that is as important, that's unique. Let's have something to say. And that's why you advertise. And that is what you advertise. So many times we think of advertising and marketing as a quick fix and a means to an end. Like, let me take out this radio ad and I'm going to get bodies walking through it. That is not what we're saying here.
Nope.
If you go on the radio ads that work are ones that have people saying things that are worth saying. And the problem is that most radio ads in local markets, they don't have anything to say. They're nonsense. They're read by
except
people.
Price and product. Price and product.
Come to the furniture warehouse where we have furniture and it's a warehouse, and buy stuff. Like, okay. What changes dramatically, even in that silly example, is if like a furniture warehouse said, it's post-Christmas and we have overstock on our furniture that we're getting away for 50% off for the next 20 days before it's reclaimed.
Yep.
I mean, get it. Okay. Well, that's something to say. And whether or not that's the offer we want to make, that's to be determined, but that's miles different than just saying, come buy furniture. And that's what we're saying here is, if you're going to go get customers in these mediums and they are working, just have something important to say to them of value, like your flyer did.
Well, in the jewelry world, I always say to jewelers, make sure your message is as important in June or August as it is December 1st. So to your point earlier, if you're looking for a quick fix, that's not the way to go. The quick fix is to have a sale, a big sale, put paint over the windows and flyers and balloons and all that kind of stuff and get a big bunny on top of your building. Definitely.
And at the end of the day, that's where we're going to end this inflation train is, okay, we've given you strategies and cost cutting and savings, and it translates to people may not be walking through the door as much as they used to. Before you react to the feeling that the business is failing because there's less traffic, we'll take a relaxed step back, right? That relaxed state of mind.
Yep.
How's your profit dollars? Is it up, down, or neutral? And react to that. And if you want to get more bodies to the door, as Jimmy said, create a valuable message and get that message out on a medium of value.
Yep.
And then proceed with your plan. Otherwise, we find ourselves reacting and we're freaking out like, oh man, I got to do this, I got to do that. And inflation is the reason why. And as I started the podcast episode, I'm going to bring this all full circle. Inflation in 2024 was actually not that bad. It was pretty normal. It was a healthy degree. So the reality is we're reacting to something else. Let's point out what that something else is and react to that.
Yeah.
And do it in a relaxed state of mind. And before you know it, you have a plan. And by George, it'll probably work.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we hope that the inflation series was helpful for you to think beyond even inflation and think about getting yourself to a relaxed state of mind, making proactive decisions to the market pressures that you're feeling. Because whether or not inflation was actually going on, the feeling of inflation was. And that is what we needed to address. So I'm glad that we did this, Jimmy. It was a lot of fun. Next time, we're going to be talking about something else. So make sure you hit like and subscribe.
Absolutely. Like and subscribe. And what's happening now as our listenership is growing on this, people are starting to write in. And I love it. This is our favorite thing in the world. So we've got a lot of neat things to start chatting about. And if you have anything you'd like us to chat about and flay open in front of the whole world, just email us, Jimmy@TrainRetail or Kyle@TrainRetail.com. And we'll get it out there. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next time.
We hope you leave this episode a little better than when you first began. If you'd like more resources to grow your business slow, steady, and consistently, check out our on-demand video catalog at trainretail.com. Or if you have a question or frustration we can help address in your business, write to us about it. We love to help solve big, ugly problems. So hit us up at kyle@trainretail.com or jimmy@trainretail.com. Good luck out there, and we will see you next time.